Hi, everyone. Nikolai here from the Financial Commission. I'm here with you once again this month to discuss our monthly complaints digest and some of our key operating metrics, which we analyze month over month. Today, we're going to be talking about our results for January 2021 as it relates to December 2020. If you'd like to follow along with my conversation and presentation, the link to the monthly report is below the YouTube video here in the description. You can click on it and get the full report, including some of our infographics and things like that. So without further ado, I'd like to talk about the key metrics from last month. I'm happy to report that in January, we had a pretty good uptick in new complaints that were filed with the Financial Commission. We had 170 complaints filed in January, which is a 34% increase from December of last year. Now, if you recall, in December of last year, we actually had a lot of complaints that were resolved towards the end of the year as we wanted to close the, let's say, financial year and resolve a lot of complaints, which we were able to do. And I'm happy to report that in January, we had a similar story. So we resolved successfully 147 complaints in January as opposed to December, roughly basically the same, a difference of only just one complaint. So I think we're doing a good job in terms of resolving complaints pretty quickly and efficiently. One of the other things to note is the total amount of compensation that was requested from traders. That number actually increased significantly by 92%, so almost doubling month over month from December to January. And in January, the total amount that was sought from traders or by traders was $1,035,346. Now, out of those monies, what we do is we categorize them between complaints that were filed by traders who trade with member brokers of our organization and those that trade with brokers that are outside of our organization. And interestingly enough, out of the roughly 1 million that was requested in January, about 868,000 of that was actually requested by traders who are trading with brokers who are not members of the Financial Commission. And about 167,000 of that was generated by traders who are trading with brokers who are members of our organization, telling us that, there's obviously a lot of issues still out there for traders with many different companies that don't necessarily do business with the Financial Commission at this point, but their traders are looking for a way out. They're looking for help. They're looking for somebody to mediate or at least investigate a situation that happened with their trading account or with their experience at a brokerage. So if we take a look at the monies that were sought from traders who are trading with brokers not members of the Financial Commission, that 868,000 actually represents a very steep increase from December of 220%. So what we see an influx of traders that are looking for help, like I said. And unfortunately, because these companies with who these traders trade with are not members of the commission, the Financial Commission cannot accept those complaints or resolve them, unfortunately. In terms of the total monies that we awarded to traders, so essentially, we had an amount that was sought. How much did we actually pay out? That number is about $14,158 for January. Basically the percentage awarded, if you calculate how much was sought and how much we actually paid out, was 8.48% for the month of January, which is actually a significant increase over 3.56% what we experienced in December. So in that respect, there were a higher amount, let's say, of in terms of amounts, there were higher amounts paid out in January than the previous month. Now, our biggest or our most important metric is average dispute resolution times. So on average, out of all the complaints that we receive and investigate and resolve, how many of them were actually, how long did it take us to actually go through the whole entire process and provide a decision to the customer and to the broker? I'm happy to report that in January, that time frame was 5.7 days, which is a slight improvement over 6.1 days, which we had in December. Now, obviously, in relative terms, 5.7, 6.1 doesn't really change much, but continues to highlight the fact that as compared to international government agencies or regulators that are associated with regional or local governments where Forex and CFD trading is regulated, our service continues to be highly efficient from a duration perspective, and we continue to process complaints very, very quickly as compared to some other organizations out there that could take weeks or months. Now, when we talk about the different types of complaints, I'm sure if you've seen my videos before, you know that we split complaints into three categories, which are trading, financial, and non-trading complaints. And in January, the breakdown for these type of complaints was about 19% were trading complaints, 49% were financial complaints, and about 31% were complaints that are non-trading. So in other words, they had to do with issues that are not related to funding or withdrawing funds from an account, and they weren't necessarily related to a particular trade or order that a customer placed. They could be related to bonus programs. They could be related to access to trading accounts, terms and conditions, and similar topics. So in that respect, when we look at sort of the month-over-month difference, we actually see that trading complaints last month went up by 27% as opposed to December. So we see a little bit more issues related specifically to trading. And we did see a significant uptick in non-trading complaints, about 66% rise month over month, from 32 complaints to 53 complaints. Non-trading. So for one reason or another, traders are having a harder time with some of their brokers with respect to some of these non-financial and non-trade specific matters. We also split our complaint values based on different categories. So if you take a look at the full report that's linked at the bottom of the video in the description, you'll see that the biggest category that had the most impact or the most change last month was the $0 to $99 category. There was a 64% increase in complaints filed with us between December and January. And if we take a look at the full breakdown of these different categories within January itself, the smallest category has the highest percentage, so 38%. And the next highest category is complaints that were valued between $1,000 and $10,000. And the third highest category for us was the category of complaints $100 to $500, which made up about 16% of all complaints last month. So we do see a lot of smaller value complaints, really pretty much every month, so month over month. But we do see fluctuations month over month for the other categories, and we are happy to report that there has been an increase in more higher valued complaints as opposed to December. And we'll obviously take careful consideration and investigation in these complaints to make sure that a proper decision is made by our dispute resolution committee. Now, another metric that we look at again every month is average complaints value. So it's really juxtaposing the amount of new complaints that were received and filed at the commission and the amount of money that was sought from those complaints. And that metric also went up between December and January. So in January, our average complaints value was $6,090, whereas in December it was $4,253. So a nice healthy increase of 43%, 43% there. In terms of how many complaints were ruled by us in favor of brokers or customers, or perhaps we could not come to a formal decision in a complaint, we can see that complaints that were resolved in favor of customers actually increased significantly by 190% from December to January. So they essentially more than doubled. Um, we resolved 29 complaints in January in favor of customers, um, as opposed to 10 in December. And in terms of complaints that were resolved in favor of brokers, that number in January was 66%. And out of all the complaints which were resolved last month, that constituted a 45% chunk of the pie, as we will, or segment out of there. So we do continue to see a healthy increase in some of our most important metrics month over month. We see that traders are continuing to be interested in specific markets which they can trade. A few of the examples that we can bring up, obviously this has been in the news quite a lot recently, is interest or demand to trade single stock equities or stock CFDs, contracts for difference, a lot of the time at some of our broker members and other companies that don't necessarily do business with us at this point. But we do see traders continue to trade specific markets, especially those that are in the news or those that are becoming popularized through social media. So obviously commodities as well, silver, gold, have also been impacted recently. Single stocks I mentioned before as well, but we can't also forget fluctuations in more traditional currency pairs that we're all familiar with in terms of Forex and CFD trading. And we foresee that these kind of tendencies will probably continue as we go through the late winter months and approach spring. So we would expect that our statistics for February will be somewhere close to what we experienced in January, or perhaps have an uptick higher. It will have to essentially just wait and see next month. And I think for today, that's really it on my part. I hope that my discussion is informative, and once again, you could look up all the detailed analysis in the report on our website. And I hope to see you again next month for February's Complaints Digest, which will be published at some point in early March. And I wish everybody good luck, health, and successful trading in the future. Thank you.